AITA for cutting off my sister after her meltdown over my new relationship? But let me take it step by step. There were 6 of us. We met in college during orientation week. Some genius proposed absurd activities for team building, trust falls, awkward icebreakers, and random roommate assignments. A shared hatred for the dining hall's supposed international cuisine night ended up turning into years of friendship, the kind that seems written for the movies. There was Malik, Carter, Sienna, Zara, Bex, and me, Dante. 3 guys, 3 girls, no drama. At least at first. I was the problem solver. If someone's car broke down 2 towns over at 11 at night, I was already on the road with jumper cables. I didn't see it as anything extraordinary. I just did what you do for the people who matter. I work as a forensic accountant. Detecting patterns and details is part of my job. Without realizing it, that translated into organizing the group's logistics without anyone asking me to. Malik was my friend from day one. We connected through music and our shared allergy to people who fake sincerity. He had the ability to read a room in seconds and detect who was lying. He worked in cybersecurity, basically getting paid to think like a criminal and lock the doors before anyone tried to force them open. Carter was the picture-perfect guy, flawless smile, the exact right phrases at the right time. He would buy the first round and then forget his wallet for the second. He ended up in pharmaceutical sales, with a corporate card and zero shame. Zara was the backbone, organized, ethical, with a photographic memory for dates and conversations. She managed projects in a hospital system, which required extreme order and the ability to tell a doctor they were wrong without getting fired. Bex was chaos on legs, loud, funny, and unintentionally brutally honest. She said what everyone was thinking and then acted surprised when someone got offended. She worked as a veterinary technician. Animals didn't judge her lack of a filter. And Sienna. I started having feelings for her during our sophomore year. It wasn't a movie scene. It was gradual. I realized she was the first person I wanted to tell anything to, whether it was something good, something annoying, or something funny. It was always her. Malik knew. He was the only one who kept that fact as classified information. Are you going to tell her? He asked me junior year. After watching me spend 2 hours helping Sienna study for a biology exam, she failed anyway. When the time is right, I replied. The right time doesn't exist. You build it, he told me. I didn't do it. I waited for the perfect situation, the perfect context. Meanwhile, she called me her best friend, her rock, her person. It was never in the way I wanted, but it was enough to keep my hopes up. During our senior year, everything changed. Carter and Zara started dating. Right in the middle of finals week, they made a public confession at Bex's apartment, nervous and sweet, as if they were the first people in love on the planet. We toasted with cheap champagne and celebrated. They looked good together. 2 months later, Malik and Bex started their thing. Nobody saw it coming. He was absolute stability. She was pure entropy. But they worked. She made him laugh, and he kept her honesty from causing diplomatic conflicts. That left Sienna and me as the only single ones. I thought maybe the universe was putting the pieces into place. I was spectacularly wrong. 6 months after graduating, at a casual get-together at Carter's place to celebrate his new corporate job, I decided I would talk to her that night. Nothing formal, just cards and drinks. Carter and Zara were cuddling under an unnecessary blanket, while Malik and Bex were arguing for the 3rd time about whether Die Hard was a Christmas movie. I kept telling myself all week that I would do it. I would pull her aside for a moment and tell her the truth. Then, Zara commented on how adorable it was that we were all pairing up like animals entering the ark. Sienna let out that laugh of hers, the one that preceded something she thought was profound. It's cute, but I wouldn't do that with anyone here, she said, pointing vaguely at us, her hand moving in my direction. You guys are like my brothers. I want us to stay uncomplicated friends. Brothers. The word dropped like a brick through glass, direct and definitive. Malik looked at me for a second. Hey, are you okay? Silent. I kept my face neutral and smiled. Understood. I replied, steering the conversation toward Bex's psychotic cat. The door closed. It wasn't left ajar. It was closed, locked, and sealed. I didn't argue. I didn't ask for explanations. I filed the information under permanent decisions and adjusted my behavior. Malik caught up with me in the kitchen. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, absolutely. She made it clear. He studied me like he always did. Let me know if that changes. It wouldn't change. I knew it with the same certainty you have when touching a hot stove. What I didn't foresee was that by distancing myself from Sienna, I was also stepping away from the role I had taken on in the group. I did everything because I thought she noticed, that it earned me points, that someday it would make sense. Not anymore. So, I stopped doing it. I didn't disappear. I still showed up, paid my share, and passed Malik his sparkling water because he doesn't drink soda. I just stopped being the free operations department. For years I had managed reservations, confirmations, reminders, and transportation. I did it so quietly it seemed automatic. After the brother comment, I recalculated. The first test was Bex's birthday, 3 weeks later. At our usual bar, Sienna sat across from me. We should do something for Bex's birthday. You always organize it. I looked at her calmly. I can't coordinate this time. Too much work. She blinked. So, there won't be anything? Zara chimed in without looking at her. Bex, dinner or activity? Dinner, and then chaos, Bex replied. Define chaos, Malik asked. A place where we could get kicked out for trying to pet the bartender. Zara nodded. I'll book the dinner. Malik, find the second spot. Bex, send me 2 options. Sienna looked back at me. Are you really too busy to help out with your friend's birthday? I'm not too busy to attend, just to manage it. I didn't apologize. The birthday turned out fine. Zara made the reservation, Malik got a table, and Bex was happy because we were all there. The world didn't collapse because I didn't handle the logistics. Days later, Bex called me because her car wouldn't start outside the clinic. I went, popped the hood, and fixed it. When she started stressing about being late for game night, I handed her my phone charger. Text Malik, he's organizing today. You don't need me to translate your schedule. She looked at me for a second, then laughed and sent the text. The night went on. That's what I mean. I didn't stop caring about them, and I didn't stop showing up. I just stopped filling the spot I had taken on hoping someone would choose me. I stopped organizing everything. A week later, Carter suggested a weekend getaway. A cabin on the outskirts of town, hot tub, fireplace. He leaned back in his chair and said to me, Dante, you're good at finding places. What do you think? I looked at him without changing my tone. I think you should plan it. He laughed, thinking I was joking. Come on, seriously. I'm being serious too, I replied. If you want it, book it. Send the date and the cost, and I'll tell you yes or no. The table fell silent, the kind of pause that happens when a habit is broken and everyone realizes they relied on it. Sienna immediately chimed in, with that edge in her voice that appears when someone feels they are losing comfort. You've been very distant lately. I've been busy, I answered. Too busy for your friends? I shrugged. Too busy to be the default option. It wasn't an outburst, it was a boundary. Carter booked the cabin anyway and did it poorly. It was too far away, had a terrible cancellation policy, and there were friendly but loud dogs everywhere. I declined the invitation without any drama. I can't go. Nobody argued. They just moved on. Later, while I was waiting for my ride, Malik walked over. Are you okay? I'm good. He nodded. Good. Keep things clear. Don't let them turn you into the villain for having boundaries. That's when I understood the real change. I wasn't walking away from the group. I was walking away from the role I played within it. Sienna hated that because that role wasn't just useful. It was a private line that kept her connected to me, even after closing the door. So, she tried pulling on that line from another angle with non-urgent texts. Nothing real, just late-night notifications to get my attention back. Random thoughts at 11 at night. Memes I didn't care about. Complaints about her work as if I could rewrite her boss. A picture of a cocktail with the caption, tastes like trauma. At first, I replied normally out of habit. Then I saw the pattern. Every message was a test. Do you still come when I call? I stopped feeding into that. I replied with too bad, I understand, or wow. No follow-up questions, no extra oxygen. She noticed quickly. Are you mad at me? No. Then why are you being weird? I'm not being weird. I'm busy. You're never too busy for me. That sentence hung there like an unpaid bill. Now I am. This isn't like you. People change. Not like this, not this fast. I left that message on read. 2 days later, she showed up unannounced at my apartment. I had just gotten back from the gym and was making dinner. It was a quiet night. The knock on the door was insistent. I only opened it halfway. Sienna was there, arms crossed, ready to debate. We need to talk. About what? About why you're freezing me out. I didn't step aside, and I didn't invite her in. I stayed in the doorway. I'm not freezing you out. I'm adjusting. Adjusting what? You called me your brother, and I believed you. Brothers aren't available 24/7 for emotional support. They don't drop everything. They exist separately. Her expression changed, suddenly offended. I didn't mean it like that. It's what you said, and I'm not going to argue with your own words. She took a half step forward. I didn't move, so she stopped. You're being cold. I'm being consistent. We've been friends for years, and you set the terms. I'm just following them. She opened her mouth to push back. I didn't give her room. Have a good night, Sienna. I closed the door, locked it, and went back to the kitchen. What I didn't know was that while she was knocking on my door, she was building another one somewhere else. Carter started keeping her company. There were private messages, late-night calls, and long conversations that were no longer about the group. They were conversations where you vent, connect, and slowly begin to treat someone else's relationship like an obstacle instead of a boundary. Zara noticed it before anyone else, not out of paranoia, but out of precision. Carter's phone behavior changed. He checked it constantly, tilted the screen to hide it, got up from the table to take a quick call, came back with vague work excuses, said he was helping a friend, and vanished for 2 hours. Zara didn't confront him. She observed, documented, and waited. She created a folder on her phone called Evidence, which contained screenshots, timestamps, a saved location, and an Uber receipt to the downtown Marriott on a Tuesday afternoon. Meanwhile, Sienna kept testing me in public. She would sit next to me when there were other seats available, bring up inside jokes as if they were currency, and touch my arm in the middle of a casual, familiar sentence. I would move, change seats, keep conversations on the surface, and give her nothing. Malik noticed, Bex noticed, and Zara noticed. No one said anything because we were still pretending the group was the same. It wasn't. Then came Malik's birthday, and the tension that had been building found its spark. Malik rented the back room of a bar called the Brass Tap. It was nothing fancy, just a couple of good booths, speakers, and a clearly worn-out pool table. It was the usual 6 of us, and about 8 of his co-workers. I arrived on time with a bottle of Yamazaki 12. I knew he had been looking at it for months, but he wouldn't buy it because spending $150 on whiskey felt irresponsible to him. I handed it to him at the entrance. His eyes widened. Brother, happy birthday. You didn't have to do this. I know. We greeted each other, genuine appreciation on his face. You're too good for these people. I know that too. I sat at the opposite end from Sienna, next to a guy from Malik's work whose name I had already forgotten. I made small talk and observed the room. Carter and Zara were together, but the tension between them was obvious. Carter was checking his phone under the table with the discretion of a thief. Zara watched him do it with the patience of someone waiting for confirmation. Bex was 3 drinks in and in total chaos mode. The night promised to be fun or a disaster, probably both. Sienna tried to sit next to me. I stood up as if I had just remembered I needed to check the sound. Do you need help? I asked Malik while already walking away. Sienna followed me to the speakers. Are you going to keep acting like this? Like what? Ignoring me. I'm not ignoring you. I just don't revolve around you anymore. It's different. She clenched her jaw. I don't understand why you're being like this. I'm being what you asked for, a brother. Not romantic. Not your person. Not your immediate option. That's not what Bex's voice cut through the air. Sienna, your phone keeps buzzing. Do you want me to put on your music? Yes. Sienna pulled out her phone and handed it over without thinking. Yes, whatever the reason, it was a big mistake. Bex started searching on Spotify. The screen locked, and when it lit up again, a notification popped up, and Bex, being Bex, read it out loud before processing it. Last night was risky but totally worth it. I can't wait to do it again. From Carter. She looked up, confused. Wait, isn't Zara your girlfriend? The silence wasn't normal, it was absolute. Sienna's face drained of color in seconds. This is private. You're embarrassing everyone. Zara didn't look at her like a rival. She looked at her like someone who had cut in line. You embarrassed me first, she said calmly. Carter went blank. It's not what it looks like. Zara tilted her head. Then what is it? It's nothing. We were just talking. About what? Friend stuff? Venting. Zara pulled out her phone and opened something she already had prepared. She slid it over to Malik. Friend stuff? Like this. Malik looked. His expression didn't change, but his jaw tensed. He handed the phone back without saying a word. That silence weighed more than any scream. I didn't need to check your phone today, Carter, Zara said. I've been documenting you for weeks. I have screenshots, locations, schedules, and the hotel charge you couldn't explain. Carter opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Sienna tried to redirect the scene. This is humiliating. Can we talk in private? Zara looked at her with surgical precision. Now you want privacy, after sneaking around with my boyfriend for months? We weren't sneaking around. We were just talking. Talking at 1 a.m. about how you understand each other, how I don't understand him, and about what would have happened if you had met earlier. Carter fell back on the classic script. It didn't mean anything. We had too much to drink, and you're overreacting. Zara didn't yell, and she didn't cry. You're just explaining why you got caught. That dropped like a hammer on glass. She stood up slowly, took the key to Carter's apartment off her keychain, and left it on the table like a verdict. She looked at Sienna one more time. Done. I remained at the end of the table watching. There were no speeches and no spectacle. I was just paying attention. And when the room reached that point where everyone knew the truth and nobody could unknow it, I made my only move. I looked at Zara, not Carter or Sienna, and said a single sentence. You are not alone. Zara held my gaze and nodded once. It was enough. I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and walked toward the door without slamming it, without adding anything else. A silent, definitive exit, more forceful than any argument. Behind me, Malik's voice cut through the air. Dante, wait. I stopped by the door and barely turned around. Malik was already standing, glaring at Carter. Don't follow him. Carter's face turned red. And who are you to tell me that? I'm the guy whose birthday you ruined by crossing a line, Malik replied with a dangerous calmness. Sit down. Carter remained standing. You have no right to. Sit down. Carter sat down. Malik's eyes shifted to Sienna. You don't have the right to speak for anyone here either. Sienna's voice rose. I have just as much right to be here as. No. Malik interrupted her. You don't. Bex was still holding Sienna's phone as if it might explode. I didn't mean to cause this, she blurted out nervously. I just read what popped up. I didn't know what it was. Zara walked over and gently took the phone. You didn't start anything, she said serenely. You just finished it. Then she looked at Carter and Sienna as if they were defendants awaiting sentencing. You are both out. Carter made one last attempt. Can we talk about this calmly? It was Sienna. She looked at me pleadingly. Dante, please. I didn't answer. I walked out. The last voice I heard was Malik's, firm and icy. If you're still here in 30 seconds, I'm calling the manager. I didn't stick around to verify it. I drove home in silence, listening only to the engine and the friction of the tires on the asphalt. I felt something simple and clean, relief. The next morning, I had 47 unread messages in the group chat. Zara, 6:23 a.m., Carter was unfaithful. Sienna participated. They were removed from the event. I am not going to discuss it. Don't bring them near me. Malik, 6:24 a.m. That's the standard. Don't ask her to bend it. Nobody is going to play neutral. If you hang out with them in private, don't pretend you support Zara or me. Bex spiraled into apologies, and Zara asked her to stop. Malik thanked her for the best birthday present possible. I sent a single text to Zara. If you need anything, let me know. I'm fine. I just need distance from the absurdity. Before noon, Sienna was already posting vague messages on Instagram about toxic people twisting things. 3 mutual friends texted me, asking me to be the mature one and mediate. I told them all no and muted the conversations. My mother called me. Sienna's mother had contacted her, upset that I didn't want to talk to her daughter. She made choices. I'm not going to help her manage the consequences. Dante, that sounds very cold. It doesn't sound like you. It's exactly me. You're just seeing it now. Afterward, my mother sent me a message. We always thought you and Sienna would end up together. She was so good at getting you to help her with everything. I read it twice. You guys liked it because I was useful to her, I replied. That's the problem. I muted her too. Over the following week, the group naturally reconfigured into Malik, Zara, Bex, and me. We were the ones who didn't play neutral, the ones who understood that loyalty means something. We started seeing each other in small groups, quiet dinners, game nights, clean energy. No one walked on eggshells, no one put on an act. We just existed. Sienna tried a softer approach. She texted Bex. Can you tell Dante to talk to me? I miss him. I miss all of you. Bex sent me a screenshot, and I told her to reply. He's unavailable. Sienna insisted. I don't understand why everyone is being so cruel. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. Bex replied. You called him your brother and then got mad when he treated you like a sister. That's not a mistake. That's a misunderstood sense of entitlement. After that, Sienna stopped texting her. She tried with Zara. I know you're upset about Carter, but can we separate that from the group? I miss everyone. It's not fair. Zara replied exactly once. You participated in the end of my relationship. You are not a neutral party who just wants harmony. Goodbye. Blocked. Meanwhile, I was moving forward. I got a certification in anti-money laundering, started working out 6 days a week, and took a solo weekend trip to the Adirondacks. I didn't post anything. I was just living better. 3 months after Malik's birthday, I met Nora at a fraud prevention conference in Chicago. She was presenting on behavioral patterns, and I asked a question about false positives. We ended up talking for 40 minutes about Benford's law and its real-world application. She was brilliant, direct, and had no need to prove anything. We grabbed coffee the next day and kept in touch. 3 weeks later, we went to a comedy show and talked until they closed the bar. No games, no mixed signals, just two people exploring something. A month later, I told Malik about it at the gym. I'm seeing someone normal. He asked, laughing, normal? That sounds healthy. Weird, right? I took her to trivia on a Thursday and introduced her. This is Nora. There was no putting on an act. Bex started interrogating immediately. What do you do? Forensic accounting. Fascinating. What's the worst financial crime you've investigated? I can't talk about active cases, but I once uncovered $4 million hidden across 12 shell companies under a deceased mother's name. Bex's eyes widened like saucers. Nora bonded with her over true crime podcasts and with Zara over database security. While Malik and Bex were arguing about rules, Nora quietly told Zara, if you ever need a +1 for anything so you don't have to go alone, count on me. Zara barely smiled. We won that night. Bex texted me privately, I adore her. Don't mess this up. Nora started integrating without any announcements. She simply became part of the circle. Sienna found out and started showing up at places where she knew we'd be. The first time was at a brewery. Dante, I didn't know you'd be here. There were 200 people. Of course she knew. She looked at Nora. And you are Nora? Nice to meet you. I'm Sienna, Dante's best friend since college. I corrected her instantly. We're not close. Her smile cracked. That's harsh. It's accurate. She tried to sit down, but Malik blocked the chair. We're good as is. Sienna walked away protesting. You guys are acting like I committed a federal offense, she complained loudly. Bex muttered just loud enough for us to hear. You basically did. Later, Sienna messaged Nora, warning her that I got attached quickly and then pulled away. Nora showed me the screenshot. Your ex-best friend is really something else. Block her. Already did. The final clash happened at trivia. 3 months into my relationship with Nora, we were winning. Sienna showed up and walked straight toward us. So you replaced me. I didn't look up from the sheet. You're not in that position. What position? Any. She raised her voice, drawing looks around us. How can you erase years just like that? I looked at her emotionlessly. You called me your brother, and I believed it. You can't rewrite that just because you don't like the consequences. I didn't say it like that. You said it exactly like that. She tried to drag Nora into it. You don't know what you're getting into with him. Malik stood up. Enough. Zara was direct. You crossed a line with Carter, you betrayed my relationship, and you lost access to the group. Action and consequence. Bex finished it off. You called him your brother. Why are you acting like you're his ex-girlfriend? Sienna looked around. Nobody was backing her up, and nobody was neutral. You're all toxic, she snapped. I went back to the sheet. We're still not hanging out with you, by the way. Nobody yielded. She left, and the bar felt lighter. A week later, I received a text from an unknown number. It was her, using a new number. It was a long text. It said she understood, that she had had real feelings, that the Carter situation was a mistake, that she had always been in love with me, and that she wanted 5 minutes for coffee. I read it twice. I felt nothing. 2 years ago, it would have meant something, but now it was just noise. I left it on read. It wasn't out of revenge. I was on the couch with Nora, watching Malik and Bex argue about whether Die Hard was better than Lethal Weapon, while Zara looked up ratings to decide it with data. I was exactly where I wanted to be. An hour later, Sienna texted again. Did you see my message? I blocked the number. Her again? Nora asked. Yeah. Are you okay? I'm very good. That night we took a picture. Malik set a timer. Zara was in the middle, flanked by Malik and Bex. I was on the end with Nora under my arm. We genuinely smiled. I uploaded it to Instagram without a caption. The views showed up in minutes. I didn't care. That chapter was closed. She had valued the access, not me, the convenience, not the connection, the idea of having someone unconditional, not the real person. And I finally understood the difference. Later, the chat returned to chaos with plans, jokes, and absurd arguments about whether a tomato is a fruit or a vegetable. I put the phone down and smiled. Are you sure you want to get into this group? I asked Nora. I'm kidding. It's the most functional group I've seen. The bar is low, but they're good people. Even Bex. Especially Bex. I drove with the windows down even though it was cold. A song I didn't recognize was playing, but I liked it anyway. The phone buzzed with an unknown number. I muted the notifications without looking. I learned something that took me too long to understand. The people who truly love you make room for you without you having to beg for it, and the ones who don't spend years trying to convince you they do. Sienna made her choice when she called me her brother. I just took a while to accept it. And now I was free. Comment. Sometimes we hold on to people simply because of our shared history, but history is not the same as a future. Realizing your true worth is the first step toward finding people who appreciate you for who you are, rather than just what you can do for them. Setting a boundary is never an act of aggression. It is an act of self-respect that teaches others how to treat you. You do not always need to explain yourself or fight for your side of the story when someone crosses a line. Walking away in silence is often the loudest statement you can make to protect your own peace. When you finally stop chasing the wrong people, you create the space needed for the right ones to find you. True friendship should feel easy and reciprocal, not like a constant negotiation or a test of your patience. Healing begins the moment you decide that your mental well-being is more important than keeping everyone else comfortable. I hope this reminds you that you deserve connections that make you feel seen, valued, and safe without having to ask for them. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.